Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another short little unboxing video to share with you guys. That slap was too good to have to redo it just because I wasn't in frame. Thanks so much to Kunwu for sending these in. One of them actually doesn't have the shrink wrap on it, but I haven't opened it yet. I'm saving the initial reaction for you guys. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex, and at least for the time being on TikTok at _metal_complex. Let's start off here with this one. We're really zoomed up today, but that's okay. You guys like to see things close up, right? All right, so what do we have here? Yeah, I think that's the Compact Chad, which is awesome. If you're not familiar with Kunwu knives, I would say still to this day, I mean, it's been like this for a bit. They probably have some of the best dollar for dollar overall quality and execution that you're going to get. That's not just in terms of like utilitarian design, but in terms of execution when it comes to materials like blade steel. Wow, they do such a good job. Let's get in here. So we got the extra clip. We got all the extra cool stuff. Oh boy. And we got, of course, the initial one here is black with the shiny DLC. God, this is my favorite. So Kunwu is doing legitimate DLC. I'm cleaning it off so you guys can see it in all its glory. It's real DLC and it's also polished, which is not, I don't love that it says Compact Chad in white on the blade. I don't love that, but it's real DLC, which means incredibly scratch resistant. This is a superior coating. If you're new to knives and you're like, I've seen black knives at the gas station, they're not the same thing. That's paint. This is DLC. It is incredibly hard, ridiculously scratch resistant. I always showcase theirs in particular by just using, you know what? I'll just use the blade of a knife. Their coating is incredible, and DLC coating in general is just absolutely incredible, and it just super scratch resistant, corrosion resistant. On top of that, we have, it's PM60, very, very nice, excellent edge retention. It's not a steel that I am as familiar with in terms of the super steel stuff, but that is a Crucible powder form steel. I think, is PM60 from Crucible? You guys can correct me on that if I'm wrong. I honestly, in the moment, I can't remember. This is the Chad, but it's the compact one. So if you've ever looked at the Chad, which is an excellent model and I think is still available, and you've thought, neat, but that's just too big for me, consider a compact Chad. This worked beautifully. I think the profile of this knife is, traditional enough that it works as a smaller knife. It probably would work as an XL knife too. I love that Kunwu doesn't do crazy long clips. This clip works really, really well. This one is a carbon fiber version. So we have all carbon fiber and then the DLC PM60. And they sent me another one here that is wrapped up. I'm certain that it's another one. And just, in a different configuration. My guess would be titanium. Let's see. Yep. So we have a titanium one here with, what did we do with the, you're such a sweetheart. So this is the configuration that I would go for. We have a textured titanium. It's going to cost a little bit more. We have a textured titanium blade with the DLC PM60. That is very cool. Man, what do they call this? Like reverse tuxedo? Yeah, Kunwu does an excellent diamond finish, and they do excellent blade geometry. They use excellent steels, like I said, excellent heat treat, and just probably one of the most beautiful executions of shiny DLC, which right now is not something we see very much of. But as I guessed way back, in 2023, I said we're going to start seeing that more from companies. We're going to see an increased usage of actual DLC and not PVD or mystery coatings. And we're also going to see companies start to polish it. And Kunwu, for a while there, was like one of the only ones. And now we're seeing a couple other companies pop up. But it is still an expensive thing to do. And if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. And Kunwu is doing it right. So I've always been impressed with not just the models that Kunwu has come out with, but also the way they are executed. They're just really, really nice. And I believe all of these come still with extra springs, do they? Maybe they don't anymore. Or maybe the samples they sent me don't have extra springs. But I feel like usually they come with extra springs. Anyways, let's go ahead and measure this because it is different than the original Chad. So the overall length, man, I really like that. I think that one's going to go in the pocket today. The overall length here is coming in at 7 1/4. Okay, so this is a pair of 3 sized knife. Exactly. It's the pair of 3, but with more blade and less handle. That's exactly what we're looking at here. This one obviously is going to weigh a little bit less. I think both, no, they are going to be different. Do we do solid carbon fiber? What do we got on the inside here? No, that is a liner. So these are both actually slightly different. This is going to have probably some steel housing up here. Yeah. But not all the way through. Nope, I'm wrong. The whole thing's got steel liners. So there are nested steel liners in both of these. It's probably the same way as the other Chads, right? That would make sense. Why would they do like special scales for the titanium ones? Anyways, the weight on the carbon fiber version, this one's, that one might be under, I bet it's just slightly over 3. Yep, 3.21 ounces. Getting better at that. I've been on YouTube for 6.5 years. I've got 4,200 uploads. I should be getting better at guessing the weight. The titanium one is not crazy. 4.48 at 4.52, right? So it's going to be heavier than I think a lot of people might want for a knife of this size. But then again, it's not a small knife. It doesn't feel like a small knife. It just, man, the manipulation on these is really, really good. Let's go ahead and do just a couple of size comparisons up against some other knives you might be familiar with. So we did the pair of 3. It's also going to be very similarly sized to the Demco AD 20.5. How about, sure, we got the Benchmade Griptilian up here. That's another good one. How about the Hogue Deca? Very similar, almost identical to the Benchmade Griptilian, but, you know, why not? I know you guys, some of you have one or the other. Ontario Rat Model 2. There's a good example. Still lots of people running around with those. What else do we have up here that would be a good size comparison? Probably something a little bit bigger. Ritter Hogue RSK MK1 G2, aka the Benchmade Griptilian. You guys, your brains are going to hurt because you're like, you did not say that the way that you always say it. Why did you say it that way? It's the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue. You're right. I'm sorry about that. I really messed up. Sorry. That's going to ruin some people's days. But anyways, yeah, this is a good size. I'm glad that they didn't go micro with it. A lot of times you get the small version of a knife, and depending on the profile, you know, there's definitely a size that's going to be too small for most people. I think this is a good size. It's small enough that making it smaller, there's a benefit. It's more compact, right, versus the Chad, like the original one, which is pretty big. But it's not so small that it feels delicate, especially the titanium one. Truthfully, neither does the carbon fiber one, and I think it's probably because it's backed up with a little bit of extra weight in the liners. Like, it just doesn't feel, I mean, it wouldn't make any difference anyway, right, because carbon fiber is plenty strong. It just doesn't feel dainty. You know, nothing about these knives feels dainty. I think they kept the same height of handle and blade. Love that DLC finish. Don't like that it says Compact Chad in white on the other side of the blade. Otherwise, very, very good. This will get its own review because it is different, even though it's the Chad but smaller, but it is a different model. So you will see a full comprehensive review of this knife down the road. In the meantime, these will be linked in the description. You guys can check them out if you want to. That's going to be it for today. Thanks again to Kunwu. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.